Hello, dear attendees. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all into this session as part of the 12th Conference for Teachers of English, Language Teaching during COVID-19. Thank you for your participation. Today, I have the honor to introduce Lisset Rodríguez Aguila. She is a student and assistant professor at Universidad Central MartaAbreu de las Villas in Cuba. She's a participant in several research forums, international events, and webinars, presenting the topic of the integration of Corpus Linguistics to the translation lessons as an innovative and supporting approach for the learning process of language students. Without further ado, please enjoy this session using an English-Spanish parallel corpus of science and technology texts to foster translation competence.
Hello, my name is Lisset Rodríguez Aguila. I'm a fifth-year student and also an assistant teacher of English language with second foreign language French at Universidad Central MartaAbreu de las Villas in Cuba. It is an honor and a pleasure to me to have been invited to participate in this conference. Therefore, I would like to thank my colleagues at Universidad Pedagógica Nacional Francisco Morazán for the kind invitation and opportunity to participate. In this occasion, I would like to present a research work that I've been carrying out during the last couple of years, 2020-2021, as part of my school program. This research work has also turned my diploma paper and has been carried out under the supervision of Juanidania Pérez Morales and Humberto Miñoso Machado, also professors of English language at Universidad Central MartaAbreu de las Villas. This research work is titled An English-Spanish Sentence-Aligned Parallel Corpus of Science and Technology Texts for Enhancing the Translation Competence. And we considered it was pertinent to present it in this event since as I said before, it was developed during the last couple of years under the impact of the pandemics, the COVID-19, a context where we have had to change our teaching methods and find out new alternatives and new teaching materials to bring into the classroom in order to help our students to self-prepare and to acquire the necessary knowledge they need to master. So, what led us to develop this research? As professors, we are called to constantly reinvent ourselves and our teaching strategies, to bring innovative alternatives into the classroom, to combine disciplines in order to potentiate the learning process. Currently, we see that learners of English as a foreign language in higher education institutions face a plethora of challenges. Many of these are associated with the development of specific competencies that are of paramount importance for their professional performance as translators and interpreters. I would like to mention that translating and interpreting are two of the main professional profiles that we are prepared for in our degree course. Hence, the level of importance that we give to the subjects that are related to translation and interpreting during our school years. So the proposal of an English-Spanish sentence-aligned parallel corpus of science and technology texts will help our students, the students of the English language with second foreign language French degree course, to acquire and develop translation competence as undergraduates and hopefully in their working environment. According to experts, using parallel corpora as an aiding tool in the translation process provides a broad range of vocabulary and translation solutions, which is beneficial to systematize lexical knowledge and translation strategies. And we will develop this further in our research. We will see why experts state that using a parallel corpus as an aiding tool in the translation process in the translation classroom can be beneficial to learners in order to acquire the basic principles of translation, to see this wide variety of lexical items and their equivalents, to see more examples. We will see in more depth why a parallel corpus could be a beneficial tool, a beneficial aiding tool for our translation learners. But what is the importance of this research, in our opinion? Well, while carrying out this research work, we were searching to see how many English scientific journals were published, and we found that they are around 30,000, with close to 2 million articles published per year. So with more and more works and papers on science and technology published in English, and their level of lexical complexity, the need to enhance the competence of the translators is imperious, since we are sort of a bridge between the scientists and the readers. Hence the relevance of this work. We bilinguals and English language students are not only expected to communicate well in a common environment, we are supposed to master specialized knowledge, academic vocabulary. We are aimed to be good communicators at any level of complexity. Perhaps not perfectly, but with a good level of knowledge in every context. So we aim at preparing our students, specifically in the subject translation of science and technology text, so that they can successfully face the translation of a specialized text on science and technology on a journalistic publication in science, or a technical publication. The problem that led us to develop this research was that we found to be a lack of supporting material and offline bilingual sources to enhance the translation competence in the classroom, which is weak, particularly when dealing with difficult topics such as science and technology. We also found out an absence of systematic study and practice based upon the analysis of ready-made translations. So the overall aim of this research is to propose an English-Spanish sentence-aligned parallel corpus of science and technology texts for the enhancement of the translation competence of our fourth-year students. Sometimes, I can speak to for myself as a student, and also the current fourth-year students of my degree course. We enter the classroom and have to translate science and technology text, and we are not familiar with the topic dealt with in the text. We are not familiar with the vocabulary, and it's really stressful because we are over-depending on dictionaries. We do not know the topic. We do not know the terms, and on top of it, we find translation difficulties with specific sentence patterns in the way. So it becomes an extremely cumbersome process for us. Therefore, we notice the need of consulting or resorting to other sources that can provide us examples in context of how these topics are translated. Which are the terms that we need to master at the time of translating science and technology texts. And that's what this research work is about, to provide a tool, a teaching material for students' self-preparation, and also to be used in the classroom so that we can enhance this necessary competence to translate science and technology texts. For this research, we are attempting to bring two disciplines together with a practical outcome in the classroom, of course. that is to integrate corpus and translation in order to build a parallel corpus that helps enhancing the translation competence of our fourth-year students. But we first need to theoretically fundament this research. So I invite you to see now some of the main concepts upon which this research was based upon. We have been talking about translation competence all the way here. We have repeated this term a lot of times, but what is the definition of translation competence? According to the group PACTE, a group of experts on translation and translation competence, it is the underlying knowledge system needed to translate. It has 4 distinctive characteristics. First of all, it is expert knowledge and not possessed by all bilinguals. I think we were mentioning before. The fact that we are bilinguals does not mean that we are proficient to convey meaning in every context. So we need to develop specialized knowledge. We need to master certain terminology above average in order to be proficient translators and interpreters. Second, it is basically procedural knowledge. We were talking about renewing our strategies, and knowing how to translate does not only involve to master the terminology, but also to master principles and strategies at the time of facing a particular structure in the text that we need to translate. Third, it is made up of various interrelated subcompetences. We see it here in the PowerPoint presentation. The 5 subcompetences included into the general concept of translation competence. And fourth, the strategic component is very important, as it is in all procedural knowledge. So we're talking about how it is important to develop translation strategies, besides learning the terminology and learning the vocabulary we need to accurately translate a text. But how is translation competence acquired? While carrying out this research, we found out that there are 2 approaches to the acquisition of translation competence. These are the product-oriented approach and the process-oriented approach. While the product-oriented approach includes error analysis and translation quality assessment, the process-oriented approach provides an insight into the translation process itself and the cognitive efforts made by people who perform translation tasks. So, we are more focused in this work on the process-oriented approach. Why? Because it is more pedagogical. It doesn't only correct, but it explains, it provides with examples, it accompanies the process of our students where they are translating. It teaches strategies and learners need to learn in order to be proficient in their work. So if we focus on the process in the product-oriented approach, we are only checking errors and assessing the final results without explaining the whys of the translation process. We need to accompany our students. We need to see what are the specific difficulties they face. We need to give them knowledge, not only give them a text in the classroom that needs to be translated when the time is over. We need to bring the terminology. We need to provide them with various sources they can resort to when they want to find out the meaning of a term. We need to provide them with examples of past translation strategies that other translators have applied so that they can apply it to the work they are carrying out right now. It is not only assessing and taking errors, but explaining why those are translation errors and why they should do it differently. So through the implementation of the parallel corpus as an aiding tool in the classroom for the subject translation of science and technology texts, we would like to to focus on the process-oriented approach. We know that there is not enough time, perhaps, in the lesson period to teach all that we would like to our students. But this parallel corpus can also serve as a self-preparation tool that they can use when they are home. It's offline. So we think it can be helpful for them in order to help enhance the process and help enhance their translation competence, rather than just correcting their mistakes. They need to systematize knowledge. They need to systematize and acquire principles. And that is not achieved only by correcting mistakes and focusing on the product, but to strengthening the process, the learning process. So moving forward, the second branch involved in this research work is Corpus Linguistics. But what is Corpus Linguistics? It is a research methodology used for the study of linguistic phenomena through large collections of texts, which are currently machine-readable, oral, or written, called corpora. In other words, it is a research methodology based on empirical evidence on how language is actually used. It is very helpful at the time of carrying out research on language, on a particular variety of the language, on real language. But what is a corpus? It is the core of Corpus Linguistics. It's a collection of texts, of pieces of language that are selected and ordered according to explicit linguistic criteria in order to be used as a sample of the language. It is also a collection of texts, but finite and machine-readable, sampled to represent a language or variety. So it is a body of texts that are encoded or machine-readable and are used to research on a particular aspect of language or on a language variety, on a specific type of text, etc. But for this research, we are focusing on a particular type of corpus. There are a lot of corpus classifications, but among the types of corpus, there is one called parallel corpus, which is the main focus of this research. A parallel corpus comprises texts in one language and their respective translations into another language. Both languages need to be aligned, which is identifying corresponding segments, usually sentences or paragraphs, which need to be matched through a corpus tool. So we are talking here about a sentence-aligned parallel corpus. That means that we have a body of science and technology texts in English and their translations into Spanish, which will be sentence-aligned through a corpus tool. Sentence-aligned means that there is a parallelism between sentences, so that when the user is going to carry out a word search, this word or noun group can be easily found, for instance, in context, in a sentence in English, and then we have just beside the corresponding sentence in Spanish. So when we carry out word search in a corpus processing tool, we can easily find this word or phrase we are trying to find through the process, or thanks to the process of alignment. At the beginning, we were saying that experts state that a corpus, parallel corpus, can be of great help to enhance translation competence and to aid the translation process. But let's see what experts have to say about this. So Bausela states that from the observation of specialized corpora, it is possible to identify specific patterns, phraseology, terminological variants, and the frequency of conceptually relevant words, cohesive features, and so forth. The access to this information will allow the translator to produce quality text. That's it. The translator is able to see examples, to see how a term is used, which is the best equivalent in a given context, especially on academic publications or scientific and technical texts, which are so difficult and complex in terms of lexical items. So the translator is able to see examples of how past translators have implemented a certain translation strategy, and they're able to visualize it through a parallel corpus where we have the original text and its translation. And then he's able to incorporate this knowledge and apply it to the present translation work he's carrying out. According to Professor Patricia Rodríguez, also an outstanding expert on the use of Corpus Linguistics for translation, an electronic parallel corpus can be reutilized. It allows to carry out quick and systematic search of information in a wider and more varied range of texts. It offers a great number of lexical examples in the source and target language in context. It allows translators to go directly to those sections in the text where there are keywords with the assistance of a corpus analysis tool. We're talking about it. It's really easier to carry out word search and find its equivalent in the target language. It facilitates the detection of information as collocational patterns. So this word that we are looking for in the corpus is not isolated. We can see it in context, both in the source and the target language. It facilitates the detection of frequency, which allows to determine the relevance of the patterns found. It facilitates and accelerates the retrieval and analysis of concrete information. It offers certitude at the time of making strategic decisions, such as lexical choices. Sometimes searching in a dictionary is not enough to see which is the best equivalent to translate a certain word. And so through a corpus, we can see how a specific term is used and which is the best equivalent that we can use in the target language. It also provides a wide range of examples on how other translators dealt with specific translation problems. And this knowledge can be incorporated by learners in order to solve similar translation problems. It provides greater opportunities for casual learning. In order to translate, it is not enough to know the terms, to know the translation strategies, to master both language perfectly. It is also necessary to have background knowledge. It is necessary to have general information on various topics. And Corpus provides a body of text on specific topics that we need to learn about. And it gives us information, not only lexical or syntactical information, but also general background information that enriches us as people, as communicators, as professionals. Now, going to the methodology we used to carry out this research work, we can say we used a mixed method approach. We applied several theoretical and empirical methods to obtain the results of this research. And among the empirical methods, we applied non-participant observation and also a survey that we did to 20 fourth-year students of the English language with second foreign language French degree course at the Universidad Central MartaAbreu de las Villas, which is the sample of our research. And also the sample includes the 50 English texts on science and technology and their translations into Spanish, which make a total of 100 texts taken from the World Health Organization official website, the Nobel Prizes official website, and the Encarta Encyclopedia Students Premium 2009. And we will see why we use these sources to retrieve our texts for the corpus. So we carried out a survey to our fourth-year students who are the ones who deal with the translation of science and technology texts in order to diagnose the current situation and their needs with regard to the learning process and the teaching process of translation. The results of the survey show that the majority of our students, 90% of them, receive some difficulties hindering the translation process, particularly the translation of science and technology text. They stated that there is insufficient offline bilingual reference sources for translating in the lesson. I would like to say that here in Cuba, things are a bit different from everywhere regarding the internet. We do not have full access to internet. It is costly and we cannot use it the whole time. So it is difficult for students to constantly access the internet in the case where they have to carry out a particular search for a translation, either a term or background information on specific topics. So they need offline sources, dictionaries and such. But particularly sources where they can see the words in context. Sources where this specialized terminology is registered with their equivalents. So that's what we diagnosed, first of all, through the survey. They also stated that there is insufficient time for translating in class. Sometimes they feel overwhelmed because they are facing a difficult text on science and technology. They don't know the topic, they don't know the terminology, and on top of it, they have to hand in the work to the professor in a given period of time, so there's a lot of pressure on them. Some students claim for more tutoring hours with the professors. Most of the translation is relegated to independent study, and again, they don't have enough bilingual offline sources to consult. There is insufficient background information on the topics of science and technology before facing the translation of a text dealing with these topics. Here we have a table that summarizes the quantitative data derived from the survey. Here we can see the answers of our students and the different percentages of the different opinions they stated. So we are proposing to build an English-Spanish sentence-aligned parallel corpus to enhance the translation competence. But how was this corpus compiled? Which were the steps that we followed in order to compile and process this corpus? But first of all, the selection of sources. Second, data capture and encoding. And third, corpus processing. How was this carried out? Well, I elaborated a small summary of the software we needed to use in order to encode, align, and process the parallel corpus that we elaborated. For building this corpus, it was necessary to use tools such as an aligner, in this case Omega T, and also the Xbench software, which was used to process the corpus. But first of all the text, firstly reading or registered on the Word documents, they needed to be converted into TXT files and subsequently to UTF-8 format in order to be machine readable, which is an essential requisite for a corpus to be a corpus. Once all the files were encoded in the required formats, they were uploaded to Omega T Aligner in order to be aligned at a sentence level. Afterwards, they were uploaded to Xbench and converted into a translation memory where they are stored. And this allows the user to carry out quick word search of the corpus that is stored in Xbench software. So, with respect to the selection of sources, in the first semester of the fourth year of our degree course, students work with science and technology texts, as we were saying before, specifically in the domains of medicine, scientific discoveries in physics, chemistry, and artificial intelligence. So these domains are divided into the specific topics of communicable and non-communicable diseases, artificial intelligence models, and Nobel Prizes. And here, COVID-19 makes its entrance. Due to the recent impact of the COVID-19 pandemics, it has been considered relevant to include a number of texts in the corpus with this topic. It belongs to the domain of medicine, and these texts will deal specifically with the topic of COVID-19, which is a very up-to-date topic. It is in all the news. It is affecting ourselves and our families, our schools, our routines, our normal lives. There is no way that COVID-19 is not part of our English lessons right now. We need to update our teaching materials because our students are not just supposed to learn grammar and vocabulary. They are supposed to be good communicators. They need to be able to communicate accurately about the issues going on around them. So it was pertinent to include COVID-19 texts on this corpus of science and technology texts. Why not? COVID-19 is a disease. It belongs to the branch of science. Here I would like to show you some pictures on how the process of alignment and data capturing and coding and final processing of the corpus took place. So here we have the first picture of the omega T aligner. Here we see that we first go to the option tools and we select align files. Once we have done that and we have all the files converted into TXT and EFT8 format, we can upload here, in this case, the text in English, and then down here, the translation into Spanish. We upload them. Then we apply the automatic alignment, but it is not infallible. The automatic alignment can have its mistakes, so we need to manually check and correct the alignment sentence by sentence so that our corpus is correctly aligned. Once we have carried out that process, we can save the aligned text as a translation memory, and it will go straight to a file in our computer. When we have finished aligning all the text of the corpus, let us remember that they were 100 texts. We can open the Xbench file and we can open a new project with the translation memory previously stored through the omega T aligner. And here on the screen, you can see a word search that we carried out on Xbench. We search for the word electric, which is very common on science and technology texts. And here we can see to our left all the examples in the text where the word electric was used. And here we see that the word is not isolated. Since the corpus was sentence aligned, we see the word in context with its respective collocations and structures in the sentence. And most of all, we see the equivalent of each example sentence aligned along with the original English sentence. Here we have to our right the Spanish sentence with the translation. So we can see the term we search for in English and their equivalents into Spanish in context. So it provides a wide range of examples that our novice translators can observe in order to see how it is used, which are the collocations applicable to that word, which are the common sentence structure where it appears, etc. It is really useful friendly. You see that the word search is highlighted, so it is really easy to visualize. In order to have an even more practical outcome of the corpus, we used NCONC corpus processing tool in order to find out which were the most common scientific and technical terms in the text that we compiled for the corpus. NCONC elaborated a list, and then we summarized that list into a word bank of science and technology texts with 478 entries in English and their corresponding equivalents in Spanish, for a total of 1,901 words in both languages. So we take this word bank to a classroom, and along with the use of the corpus, we can use this word bank so that our students can systematize and learn all the vocabulary they need for translating these topics. Here in this word bank, they will find the terms that they need to learn, and it will be easier for them since they will see the term in English and their equivalent in Spanish. This will help their translation process. It will make it easier for them. And also, we have developed a lesson plan layout with some exercise sheets that provide the teacher with a way of incorporating the corpus, the parallel corpus of science and technology text into the translation lesson. So as any normal lesson, in the introduction, we carry out a warm-up, we state the field, topic, and objectives of the lesson. In the body, we do the presentation of Paracorp 2020. That's the name we have given to the corpus, Paracorp, out of Parallel Corpus in 2020, after the year that we started doing this research. And we also present the text they are going to translate in class. Then we propose 1 to 10 corpus-based translation exercises. We carry out interactive revision of the translation, as well as an analysis of the difficulties and their possible solutions through the search of alternatives in the corpus and interactive debate in class. Finally, for the conclusions, we summarize the new terminology and techniques learned in class. We clear out any possible doubts, and very important, we ask students for their feedback about the translation exercises and the use of Paracorp 2020. I would like to say that the use of a corpus for the translation lessons is something new in our context, in our university, and in our Department of English Language. Even though since the decade of the 1990s, Mona Baker and other experts who were pioneer in the insertion of Corpus Linguistics in the translation studies, this combination of the two disciplines is pretty new for us. We are attempting to implement it here in our degree course as a means of enhancing the translation process and helping our students to develop their translation competence. I would like to conclude by saying that the integration of language disciplines has become vital to foster linguistic competencies needed for the successful professional development of translators and interpreters. Many experts highlight the benefits of the integration of corpus linguistics and translation studies and its practical applications to the training of novice translators. The needs analysis revealed the lack of aiding tools to raise students' translation competence when dealing with the translation of science and technology texts, the lack of terminological knowledge and strategic skills to translate, led to the proposal of an English-Spanish sentence-aligned parallel corpus of science and technology texts called Paracorp 2020 as an authentic and innovative idea to aid the enhancement of the translation competence. The corpus derived in a word bank and also in a proposal of exercises which will also contribute to the application of this proposal. We hope that we can effectively use this corpus and all the materials that were derived from it in order to help our students to become proficient translators, especially when dealing with these specialized texts, such as science and technology texts, which have a high level of lexical complexity. And they need to have a specific knowledge and specific strategies in order to accurately translate them and render a high quality result. We hope that we can move forward with this research and that the results, the future results, can be positive in our students. We hope that we can certainly continue to combine translation and corpus linguistics and bring new strategies, everything for the good of our students and to help their learning process. Thank you very much.